We have something like $2 trillion, $2,000 billion in what we call non-discretionary spending. And when you ask a politician what that means, they will tell you, well, we can't touch that money. What? What do you mean you can't touch that money? No, we can't touch that money. That money is part of entitlements, and we have no control over it. Well, who does have control over it? I mean, it's $2,000 billion every single year that's being taken off the backs of people like you and me. And if it's going to be taken from us, $2,000 billion of the $3,500 billion they take every year, you're telling me that no one controls this? No one can stop it? That's what they'll tell you. Nobody knows where it's spent, and nobody knows where it's going. Everybody knows where it's coming from, but nobody knows where it's going. And we have bills, legislation that are this thick on a good day, and in the case of Obamacare, go from the floor to the ceiling because, not in spite of the fact that nobody knows where the money came from, but because of the fact that nobody wants to know where the money is going. That's why those bills are unreadable. Somebody, when Obamacare passed, there was some Democratic congressman or something who said that he's read all of Obamacare, and somebody said, "Sir, you're lying." He said, "How dare you call me a liar?" He said, "Because I've done the page count, sir. And for you to have read Obamacare from cover to cover, you'd have to be reading for 8 hours a day for 93 days or something like that." That bill hadn't even been in effect that long, and it's unreadable. It's impenetrable. Our laws now are made by clerks, by assistants to congressmen who write one paragraph or two paragraphs of a bill that contains thousands and thousands of pages, and nobody knows what it means. All they know is that a certain number is going to come out of the Treasury and going to go to certain places, but they don't know what it means. They can't stop it. So if they can't stop it and they can't control it, then how can they possibly be our representatives, right? If you vote for a bill as a congressman or as a senator, rather as a representative or a senator, if you can't understand it and you vote for it, how is that not a violation of your oath of office? If the people who are running the government cannot control the majority of what the government spends, if it's out of their reach, then it's not even a government. It's not even a kleptocracy. If the people who are doing this money are stealing it and no one can control how much it gets spent or where or why, then it's not even a kleptocracy. It's an automatic self-generating, gigantic black hole of mass, of money that's moving, and no one has any say in it whatsoever. So what does this have to do with Trey Gowdy? Well, when I listen to Trey Gowdy speak and when I watch Trey Gowdy cross-examine witnesses and put people on the crosshairs and basically make them squirm and make it clear to everybody and all around the world that whether or not this guy admits that he's lying, he's lying. When people like Loretta Lynch are under cross-examination and he says something to the effect of, I wish I had this actual transcript in front of me, was this a crime? Well, you would have to ask a prosecutor about that. And then Gowdy or Chavez, I don't remember which one, because again, these two are very, very close. When that person says, all right, Miss Lynch, if the speed limit is 50 miles an hour and I'm doing 60 miles an hour, am I breaking the law? And the highest law enforcement official in the country, cannot say, yes, you're breaking the law. When she says, well, that would depend on the officer who is doing you'd have to consult the officer who is doing the arrest. Then they come back with, no, we're not talking about arrest. We're not talking about prosecution. We're talking about a simple definition. If it's a 50 mile an hour speed limit and I'm doing 60 in a 50 mile an hour speed limit, am I breaking the law, yes or no? And she wouldn't answer it. And the reason she wouldn't answer it is because if she does answer it, there's only one answer, and everybody knows what the answer is. The answer is, of course you're breaking the law. But if the Attorney General of the United States were to admit that breaking the law was breaking the law, then all of a sudden we wouldn't be able to wiggle our way out of all these other things that have been going on. We wouldn't be able to make it morally relativistic.